Hello, everybody. Welcome to your monthly reading. Lots of love for Mr. Apollo and I. Capricorn, I hope you're doing well today. We're going to take a look at the next 6 to 8 weeks, focusing on the month ahead, helping you travel through what's left of retrograde and really make the most of this period of time. I'm going to put down Mr. Apollo so we can begin. Good to see everybody. Hope you're doing well. All right, let's get started. So this is a monthly forecast. You can use this for sun, rising, moon, Venus, any aspect of your chart that you happen to know. And we'll specifically go into sun, rising, and moon messages a little bit later. I always like to get started with the not the Celtic Cross, but the channel messages, followed by the Celtic Cross. Channeled messages come from dreams and meditation. And today there was a lot of immediacy in the channeled messages. So let's get straight to it, and then we'll talk more about everything else that's coming through. Hope you all had a good weekend if you happen to be watching me live. And thanks for making time on your Monday to be with me today. I do appreciate it. Okay, here we go. So 3 really big areas that I'd like us to focus on today. The first one is not hitting that snooze button. And let's get started with that. So in my dreams, I watched as an alarm was ringing and someone slept through it. I get this feeling right now that it's really important to take some action and to focus on creating movement in your life. The Fool came through last week, and I mentioned that it's not so much about how much progress has been made, how much progress you make today, or where you stand in comparison to others. It's just about keeping things in that sort of fluid motion. One step at a time, one day at a time. We get ahead of ourselves sometimes, don't we? The last bullet is some ways to just create action, even if you're having a busy day. So maybe it's doing research, perfect for retrograde if you happen to be watching between now when this is broadcast and about the middle of May. So research is perfect, picking up a phone call, asking some questions, taking like a trip to scout out and research and look at something there. Anything to break the stagnation, that's going to be positive because that's going to help you create kind of like something that's rolling down a hill. It's creating that initial motion, and the rest, momentum, is what I was looking for, is just going to start to find its way to you. Again, that middle bullet is key. Don't focus so much on what others are doing. Really just allow yourself to move forward. Now, this is the interesting piece, and I'm super oriented, like plan oriented. So this stressed me out when I saw it happening. I saw somebody that was just hanging out, ostensibly on a trip or vacation, or maybe just kind of dragging their feet before a an important trip, business trip, and they didn't know the time of the flight. I was like, look at the itinerary, and lo and behold, as they looked at the itinerary, as they looked at their watch, the flight was taking off, and they had to call the airplane. So this isn't literal, folks. We're looking at for some of you that are flying, definitely look, there could be a change in itinerary, but what I'm really looking at is preparing, because to me, things taking flight indicates that you're somewhere between the 2 and the 3 of Wands. 3 of Wands, it's already out there. 2 of Wands, you still have a chance to affect trajectory and direction. So now's a great time to create a schedule if you don't already have a schedule. If you have one, stick to it, check it, double check it, especially since this reading is falling over the beginning of a retrograde period in May. And try to stay on top of deadlines. The cool thing here is that I see something coming up in the periphery for you. So in the environment, word of mouth, or just maybe if you're distracted and not looking at things, there could be a growth or development that could make things happen even faster. So being present, being prepared, and staying open is going to be absolutely essential to success. And you can stay on top of things. So make a plan, keep a plan, and pay attention to the plan is what I would really put in this as well. All right. And trust me, we all like to sleep in sometimes, and we all like to wing it sometimes. But I feel like there's so many things that could take off in a positive way. To me, a plane as your totem it portends really good things. We don't want you to miss those takeoffs, those launches. All right. The next and final slide here is freedom to try, freedom to fail, freedom to just give it a shot. So life is too short to look back with regret. I really like the Page of Swords because there's so many ways you can look at this. Page of Swords is listening. The Page of Swords is learning from the past. but they could also be looking and thinking, why didn't I do this? So I would love for you, as you're entering into the next month, to pretend that this is the final month of whatever it is that you're working on, and that you're going to get everything done that you need to get done. There are no guarantees in life, only opportunities. And with every opportunity, there's risk. So you assess the risk, but you still embrace the opportunities that feel right for you. So there was an old line in that musical Rent, "No day but today." And I like that. There's no time for regret, no room for regret. There's no day but today. And we talked about this on the Weekend Collective, where basically, as an intuitive, sometimes I'll get an intuitive hit for something that's going to happen in the future. It can be positive, it can be challenging, it can even be sad. And sometimes for a moment, I'm there in the future, celebrating, grieving, or frustrated. And then I'm like, okay, that might happen, but I'm here today. I'm steering the ship. Let's figure out what we can do to either lift that up to something even better or avoid it altogether. So give yourself freedom to give things a shot. You never know completely how it's going to go. Even when you're intuitive, you still have an ability to change or affect the outcome. And that's what's exciting. And that's why we come together every day, every week, every month here. Okay? So quick review of everything that we looked at. Taking action is pivotal. Being present, paying attention to your itinerary, your schedule, and the opportunities around you, also pivotal. And finally, giving yourself a chance to just try, even if there's no guarantees, also important. I think we're in this world right now where everything has to be like a slam dunk, and that's really not how life is. Life is a lot more twisty and turny, and there's a lot of sort of fun things that can happen accidentally. That's where the creative process really sets in. And if you're open to having fun with that, life can be pretty exciting. All right, let's now take a look at the Celtic Cross. I'm going to give the cards a good shuffle. Welcome everybody if you just joined. Again, this is for the next 6 to 8 weeks. Let's take a look and see where you're at, what's coming through, what's up with the plane taking off. Let's see here. Two of Wands, lo and behold, right there. That was in the channeled messages. And I said you were somewhere between the 2 and 3 of Wands, so we're definitely picking up on that there. Haven't used this deck in forever. I love it. Wildwood Tarot. How interesting that we have Bastet, which is a cat goddess, and then we have the cat spirit here. Okay, you just clean up Apollo's bed behind me, and we'll get started. All right, I always like to begin with the catalyst. And just like the beeping truck in the background, a catalyst is a bit of a wake-up call, and it's a way that you can really create movement in your life. To me, it doesn't matter if the whale is upside down, because it just looks like it's ready to go out of the water and make a splash. So in this month, you're really getting more comfortable with making a splash, being heard, being seen, kind of like the star card in tarot. And let's just look at the whale upright. Just beautiful. It says, trust the great mystery. I was talking about it earlier that you're not going to get guarantees per se in life, that you have to sometimes just kind of like go with the flow. And I really feel like that's what we're getting out of this energy here, is to just allow yourself to move, to experience, to suspend disbelief and judgment, And by being in that creative flow, it's very magician energy too, you're allowing yourself to start to make some exciting moves in your life. Okay, let's now get started and take a look at the Celtic Cross. This is going to help us, like I said, transverse or travel through the next 6 to 8 weeks. Looking at all of these cards, we'll start off with the center. I want to observe that there was a synchronicity with the channeled messages. I chose the Two of Wands, and I said, between the alarm that was ringing and, someone not getting up and then missing a flight, I said, you're somewhere between this, because this is when it's already happening, and this is where you just need to stay on the plan. So we're definitely getting confirmation of that. And then this is very managerial here, the Knight of Wands, busyness. So I'll try to help you navigate through these. So we're going to start first with the center card. Planning, dreaming, envisioning, manifesting. This card is best coupled with High Priestess or Magician energy. You have a plan, you believe in the plan, and you put it into action. That's what you should be focusing on from the time that you hear this, whether it's right now in April or in May when this is meant to be applied. Because now if you're watching it, in the last week of the month before May, you can actually get stuff started. And by the way, don't fear retrograde. Use or lean into the retrograde energy to wrap up old business, to set new business plans and research into motion, and then you can really kick things off around the middle of this month, or the middle of May. So this is a really good time for planning, researching, and getting everything sort of aligned. I also love how he's really just kind of channeling the fiery energy. We don't always see that with the Two of Wands. It's often very passive. This is not a passive card. This is someone who's saying, I want to take a stand. I want to do this. I'm excited. I'm passionate about this. Are you in? So totally appreciate that. This is moving it forward, moving with the same energy of Wands here. Now we have the Knight. The Knight is going to go out there. I talked about, if you're looking for a house, this could be about, driving in your car and checking out some properties. If you're thinking of moving somewhere, same thing, or taking a job offer, you're going to check out the environment, make sure that it's good. So there's scouting energy with this for sure. This is also about taking your insights and sharing them with others. That's a fun looking fox there. And kind of introspective, but the thing with the Knight of Wands is it is about body language, not so much about the words. It's also about how you're presenting things. So go the extra mile this month when it comes to looking the part. So if you need to have an important meeting with someone, whether it's a date or an interview, or you just haven't seen someone in a while, dress up a little bit. Show them that you care. Show them that you're taking the meeting seriously. It can just be caring about yourself. You know what I mean? Like it's like the Taylor Swift song. She's dressing for revenge, but she's dressing for herself in that one, which is nice. So basically focus on dressing for presentation's purpose and just letting someone know, I care about this and I want to make it work. The other piece for this is showing, like some of you might need to put a prototype together. You may need to show a real life example. Prototype is the word that comes to mind, but it could also be just sort of something that's analogous to what it is that you want to do. That's going to help people envision it. They need to see it. And so sometimes people that are visual learners need that piece. All right, it feels like you're very close to finishing something. You might have just wrapped something up, or you're over something. And the question, as I'm looking at the cards here, is, are you ready to take the step? It does look like you are. There's a little bit of uncertainty in the future. There could be new love, new opportunity knocking, and there's a little fear associated with it. But all the other cards here are pretty auspicious. So I'll try to help you walk around the fear energy that I see here. But when the world is in the past, some of you may have already moved, already started a relationship or ended a relationship, already graduated, or whatever it was you were supposed to do, it's done. Some of you might have also peered into the future because this is a scrying or sight, sort of like a seeing card. So you might have looked out 1 to 2 years in the future. I recently had a very precognitive dream in the same way where I was shown a couple of calendar dates and a couple of options. And so you might be seeing something like that, or you might just be thinking, where do I want to be in 5 years, 10 years, whatever. So this is a time to look at future, and I would say 1 to 2 years out with the 21 being up to 21 months. If you are tired or if you are ready to make a change, this is also saying change of environment, change of structure could be very beneficial. Overall, this is a very positive card. It shows that you're already there, and that's why we have the Three of Wands here, with respect to a level of doneness. So if you're a creative person and you've been working on a book, painting, or if you've been trying to organize an event or whatever, and you're wondering, when is the right time? This is showing me that, like, if it were a cake, it's done and it's approaching being overdone now. So I think it's good to bring in someone else, let it go, birth something. Definitely getting that energy here. Three of Wands in reverse. It could happen faster than you think. It could already be happening. It could be right around you, and that's in alignment with channeled messages. So he's holding the third wand, and it's a bow, obviously, since bows are wands in this deck. So there's two wands around him. He's fresh off of this energy here of seeing it, and now he's in the energy of being it, and that really is what Three of Wands, embodiment. The traditional Three of Wands, you'd see a person up on a hill looking at ships coming in. Sometimes they're right there on the dock. Sometimes in like the Lightseer's deck, kind of like this, they're more a part of it. So in the Lightseer's deck, it's a surfer. And in this one, we have an archer. And they're ready to, well, actually, they've already sent the arrow out, right? So that's why I was saying emails, phone calls, and meetings. It's the right time to do it. Just be prepared. Preparation, I was focusing on dress, but it could also be the proposal, the PowerPoint keynote presentation, whatever it is that you're trying to organize and show them. It's definitely the right time to get that together. And I think you have a clear picture of it. It's just about, putting it down on paper for some of you. Again, there could be surprise. I mentioned we'll look at the traditional Three of Wands since we're talking about it. Here it is. So in the traditional Three of Wands, I mentioned sometimes that if this person was facing us, they might be missing the ships coming in. So there's always a suggestion with this to make sure that you're looking up, down, in all directions, because inspiration, information, and also opportunity could be knocking and approaching you from any angle. You want to make sure that you're looking and that you believe that it's possible. Also, look at the brilliant, bright colors in this card. You really have it under control this month. I feel like this is an exciting time. The bright yellow cards are typically very auspicious. Like you think of strength, you think of the Three of Wands, you think of the Fool. There's all these bright energies of movement. So this is exciting for you. More movement for you than others. Less change and transformation. I've been getting a lot of like I got that this morning, but it's more like Tower, Death, and Four of Swords. I've been seeing a lot of that. It feels like you're already through it. You're a little bit ahead of some of the other signs, which I think is kind of exciting because you don't have to play catch up, right? You can just kind of enjoy being in the flow, which is a good thing. All right, let's go ahead now and take a look at what's coming through in the crowning position here. And this is one of the ultimate boss cards here with the green woman. So this is basically Empress energy. So this is a time where you definitely want to be driving the ship. You don't want to give away sort of like time, energy, or space to other people when it comes to something that you really are behind. So there's a time to delegate. And I think getting things off your schedule that are distracting you, yeah, that's good. But if there's something that you care about, this is also about ownership and pushing that forward. So focus on what matters. I love that she's kind of in front of this cauldron and she's putting her time and her energy into whipping up something exciting, kind of like a chef would be. So put your all into it. Put that sort of, that TLC that a chef would as well. This is also a really fruitful card. Green woman or Empress energy, and also Queen of Pentacles. Queen of Pentacles and Empress, really good at birthing, really good at nurturing, really good at developing and expanding. And you have two cards of expansion right here in this center spread. So we have the World card here, and now we have so something's done, but something else is possibly even better that you're creating. And this is one thing that I've started to put out to the universe this year. So if I feel like, wow, I like that, now that's over, then I tell the universe, okay, that was amazing. Can we one up that? Can we expand this even beyond that? Help me create this and even better in my next endeavor. So you never know what your possibilities are, what your capacity is for success, for joy, or for development. So put that out there. Say, I'm ready for all of this and then some, and see if the universe can co-create something even better for you. Something's done, something's beginning, it could be even better. Okay, now we have the Ace of Cups and it's in reverse. The waters of life, this is cool. This is about being present on some levels when we're looking at all the different animals, taking a moment to just relax, like the swan and the stag, and they're just sort of like dipping in and enjoying a little bit. Some of you may be so busy in the throes of this new movement that when was the last time you just, went to a concert, saw a movie, had lunch with a friend, kind of sipped in and enjoyed the day a little bit. This is a time for you really to enjoy. And when the Ace of Cups is in reverse, it's also saying we can't fill up our lives with like replacements and sort of, like if there's something empty or missing in your life, this is really about going to the source and making sure that that's fixed, whether it's physical or emotional health, or whether it's something that you just wish you had in your life. This is saying, don't put the substitute in, put the real thing in. And also it's about knowing that you're enough for yourself. I talked today, this is in a nice alignment with the Devil reversed energy. The Devil reversed is an encouragement for you to basically love yourself. Ace of Cups in reverse, same things. It's saying that you're enough. And so maybe you need to hear it from me or from Spirit, but you are enough for anybody, but you should definitely be enough for yourself. So looking in the mirror and just saying, I accept and celebrate the person that I am and the person that I'm becoming, and I'm doing all that I can, and that's enough. If you're doing all that you can, it is enough. If you're continuing to grow and evolve in this channel, it is in this world, it is enough. It's basically about giving all you can give. And then also making sure that you're enjoying. If you're not having fun, this is basically your opportunity to take the wheel and make an adjustment. What brings joy? What brings intrigue? What inspires? That's where the abundance is going to be in your life as well. Taking a look at your the card that basically indicates where you're at, your significator here. This is really good here, Six of Cups. This has been coming through a few times this month, so I do feel like the various signs are in a sort of attractive period when it comes to relationships. We can look at Six of Cups in a broader context. So for those of you that are married or divorced or single and happy, the Six of Cups is the sort of community that you're building around yourself, your best friends, the chosen family in your life. And this is really saying in this moment, more people want to kind of connect with you, and you're also able to call in more of that energy. So you should be networking, suffice it to say. If you're already in a relationship, it can be a deepening of that. If you're trying to have a family, this can indicate twins or at least a child. We have a card here that is usually very fertile. So we see the ability to bring something to fruition, a project, or to start a family, or to attract and begin a new relationship or partnership. It's all fruitful, it's all abundant. And you have to kind of look at it from wherever you're at in your particular life. I do my best to look at it for all the different sort of people out there, but that's kind of what I'm picking up on. If there is someone new in your life, we'll look at this deeper in a moment when I look at love and relationships. This is pretty good. It's karmic. This lifetime, it's different too. The World card represents things being done. It's a lot better than Judgment. Judgment means that there's still lessons to learn. This time, if you're meeting a partner and they're from a past life, it's just because you like hanging out. There's not a lot of karma. And that's kind of, if you're going to find a soulmate, that's the kind of soulmate that you want to connect with. That way you're not feeling like you have to teach or fix or heal them. You can just enjoy one another's company because it's worked before and it'll probably work again. Okay, let's take a look at what's going on in your environment. Okay, we have the ancestor, which is also the Hierophant. It's kind of interesting that we have the ancestor title on this because there could be someone in your family that comes through as the ringleader, as the person that gets the final say, whether they're a matriarch or patriarch, it doesn't really matter. This is you also understanding that You're not that little kid. You don't have to listen to them. You can march to the beat of your own drum now if you want to. And I would encourage you to do that at this point too. So creating a schedule, a cycle, or a template that works best for you. That's kind of what's coming through with this. It is a very organized card. So I would say, as I was talking about earlier, it's a time to make an itinerary and keep an itinerary. When we look at what opportunities this brings in for you, well, lo and behold, we have the Wheel of Fortune. How auspicious is it that you have both the World Tree, aka the World, and the Wheel of Fortune here? It's moving up, moving into something better, expansion, upgrades. I like what I'm seeing. Here's what's being called into question before you can achieve this. Happiness and fulfillment. It's not the same as success. Success they're not mutually inclusive. Sometimes you can be successful and unfulfilled. So I want you to be successful and fulfilled. And part of that might be connecting more with the people that you like or having more time to spend with people in your life. It might be being your own boss or having more of a say in what you want to do. It might be finishing something really important that you haven't had a chance to finish. Now let's take a look at this Wheel of Fortune because it's pretty unique. So we see on this one, it was reversed by the way, we see this sort of loom and kind of like this, a knit sweater on there or a shirt. And it's basically saying you create your own fortune, you create your own pattern, and what you do for a living needs to fit you. One size doesn't fit all. This person is creating something that's custom fit. So who you love, what you do for a living, where you live, who you hang out with, who you marry, all that jazz, that's yours. That's your story. That's your fit. And mom and dad, brother, sister, teacher, best friend, they can mind their own business and you can do what you need to do. This card is saying success is yours to have, but it has to feel right for you. And for some of you, there's this person in the sidelines that's trying to orchestrate it, but that actually is tantamount to the devil. We don't want that. No conditional energy, no strings attached. The only strings are the ones you create here. So weave a path of liberation and do something that really suits you. Wheel of Fortune in reverse, change of fortune, change of direction, change of path, and a chance to move up if you want to. Movement is key. The wheel keeps turning, kind of like that Journey song, The Wheel in the Sky, right? It just keeps moving and moving, and you move with it too. All right, now let's take a look at the outcome. And we have the Eight of Swords in reverse. It's an end to struggle. This one has a caption on it. This is also a card. I like that she's carrying a lantern. Typically, she would have a blindfold in this deck. So it's an end to that feeling of being in the dark. So the card is reversed. So clarity, understanding, and illumination. And an end to struggle. Your mantra is, things are getting easier. Things are improving. Things are upgrading. Not I want them to or I'm ready for, but they're improving. You're finding more light. You're finding more inspiration. The struggle is over. And you're also going to move where the energy is. I talk about this all the time. It feels like all the time. But if you constantly have to go uphill against the storm, it's probably not the right place to be. I went to school on the East Coast in a really snowy climate. And I remember one year coming out, when I just graduated, it was January because I graduated a little early. And the snow was coming at my eyes, horizontal. And I thought, I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want storms that are blinding me. And by the time I got to the interview, it was kind of like a silly movie with the kids that have all this sort of I had all this stuff that I had to take off. My hair was a mess. I was sweating. I thought, this isn't it. I don't want to get a job on the East Coast. I want to move. I don't want to be in this cold climate. I need to find a place where there's sun. But I was going also that was a metaphor. Like I was pushing against the energy and it didn't feel right. So sometimes it's like a storm where you're like, I don't want to do this. You don't have to do it if you have to force it. If you have to force someone to answer the phone, if you can't land an interview after several attempts, or you've been interviewing like 6 times or something like that. There comes a point where you're like, this is too much investment. I'm pushing too much. I'm going to go where someone's welcoming and open and excited to have that sort of connection with me. And also maybe where the snow isn't flying straight at your eyes. To each their own. It was a good place to go skiing, but maybe for me, it just wasn't a good place to be in the long run. Because like I said, everybody's looking for something different. Okay, let's expand this. That was a fun little aside. I forgot about that. We're going to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. Starting off with health, which is going to help us understand mind, body, and spirit. A reminder here that I'm looking at energy. If you're having anything going on in your body, obviously you work with your doctor on that. This is a time to heal the shadow. The shadow's in reverse, which means that, just like this, it's a time for enlightenment. It's a time to look at the shadow energy without fear or without any sort of feeling of, trepidation. Okay, so the cool thing with this card is it kind of feels like it doesn't matter if it's upright or reversed. It almost reminds me of the moon card in the Lightseers deck. It's just about looking at stuff, looking at things with an open mind, an open heart, and without judgment. I mentioned earlier that we really don't need that energy here. It's already done. And so this is just understanding like why something has happened. And she's pulling back the veneer a little bit, pulling back the sort of the veil between sometimes we forget how powerful we are. We're all the wizard behind the curtain. This is the curtain, this body, and this sort of physical realm that we're in. So if something doesn't, again, I want you to kind of focus on what feels right. If something doesn't feel right, look deeper and think, why am I triggered? Why doesn't it feel right? What do I need to pay attention to? This is also dealing with shadow energies. So for some of you, this could be fear, anxiety, or addiction. And this is a great time. Retrograde's the perfect time to deal with all of that because you're going to be able to break any of those sort of energetic cycles that don't serve your highest good. Specifically looking at the cards for some additional energy and information. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, I want to look for the challenges first. I would say one of the challenges here, again, is knowing that there aren't guarantees. So some of you, there could be stress over, but I want to know, but will it be okay? Are we there yet? So this is basically comfort with ambiguity, which comes with time and maturity and sometimes reassurance from others, but getting comfortable with ambiguity. Get your eyes or ears checked if you're feeling like something's off. Whenever there's a blindfolded card, even though it's not here, it is about that. So you can always take a look at that if you're overdue. Overall, the cards are actually pretty good. What I'm seeing here for health is focusing on mental and emotional well-being the most here. And then really kind of putting your energy behind stuff that you're excited about. Because with this birthing energy here and then also the birthed energy here, I feel like once you can get over any of the emotional or maybe if there's any physical or addictive sort of tendencies, get those out of the picture, we really see success wanting to come through overall. So it's a good month. Most of this is emotional or intuitive or psychological, and that is something that at least you have the tools to deal with if you want to. Okay? I think that's it, folks, on this. Let's move on now to wealth. Wealth is resources, life purpose, and career. For each of you, this will be different. If you're a student, it's the path that you're embarking on. If you're in your career, it's a checkpoint to see if you're in the right place. If you're retired, it's where you spend your time and money. Even if I don't say that every time, you can always apply those lenses to your life. The message here, we're looking at Lord Ganesh here, is blessings. It's hard to know when you're in the throes of change or struggle that it is a blessing. So it's a blessing in disguise since this card was reversed. But invariably everything, even when we feel like we've made a misstep or there's something that happens and we're like, why? Like a layoff or something of that nature, it typically is to open up another path or another channel. And I talked a couple weeks ago about a job that I didn't like. It opened a door to another job and I was like, oh, it really wasn't a waste of time. Or sometimes, you may not get accepted in the school that you want or the job that you want, but you go somewhere else and you meet someone and that person changes your whole life. So you were never really meant to go to the place that you wanted. You were meant to go to the place that you needed to go to because you probably signed up on a soul level to have that experience. So rather than judging what didn't happen, Be open to what could happen and how what did happen may inform and support and maybe even lift you up in future opportunities. Everything's a blessing. That's your mantra. Even things that are frustrating have a blessing in them somehow. How do you find the blessing? You look from different angles and you look from different directions. And that's what we have with the 2 different wands cards here, 2 of wands, 3 of wands. 3 of wands is saying really look at it from, inside out or upside down. There might be something that you missed. So again, we're looking at wealth. You actually are getting abundance this month. This is fertility and abundance and power. This is completion. This is an upgrade. This is friendship or support. This is power. This is power. And this is a lot of good ideas that have the capacity to be shared and understood by others. It's pretty good. Only thing holding you back is possibly focusing or fixating too much on trying to fit into someone else's mold, fixating too much on the bottom line, or fixating on what you don't know. So embrace the unknown, see it as fertile ground for, it's kind of like a flower bed where you can plant new things. So there's nothing there, but that doesn't mean that nothing will be there. Maybe something hasn't been done before, it doesn't mean that it can't be done. The absence of something doesn't mean that it can't exist. Otherwise, this universe would be a lot more boring. There's always potential. We're focusing on potential. Blessings and potential, and that one size does not fit all. And it's okay if you want to take a right or left turn or a U-turn and do something different. Okay, that is the message for wealth. Let's move on and take a look at love. So love is romantic, platonic, friends, and family, at least as I read the first card, then I'll break it out a little bit. We have Bast or Bastet, and she is a divine feminine goddess, Egyptian, and connected to cats and intuition. And so in relationships, there is this, for some of you, it might be a chance to go back and fix something. 6 of Cups is someone from your past, either this lifetime or deep past. And this is like a 9th life, right? You get a chance to go back and fix or relive or have a reunion. And that's kind of cool. And the other thing with this is heightened intuition. You may see something coming with a core relationship before the other person does. You may recognize attraction in a group of friends before they realize it. Pay attention to that keen ability. You also have a chance to land on your feet, even after a breakup or a challenge. Cats usually land on their feet. So because she's so connected to that, not only that, but you also have a cat in the Destiny card, I feel like you can do all of this and then some. All right, let's focus specifically on 3 different levels of relationship interactions. We're going to look at those of you already in a relationship first, then we'll look at single and looking or single and happy. For those that are in a core relationship, this can either be romantic or it can be the person you unconditionally love the most. We'll kind of put that out there. For that core relationship, here are the opportunities and maybe some of the blessings too. You know what? There's some really great platonic messages that I'm getting here. Some of you might have married a friend, like you married someone who has a lot in common with you, and it feels like you're kind of co-creating and partnering up on some stuff. That's cool when that happens. It doesn't happen all the time. I like that. There's also a chance for you to support your partner's endeavors. Some of you are seeing like you have good partner energy, not just like romantic, but you might be able to help them be the best version of themselves by like, hey, have you thought about this? Or what about this? So I like that. You can see things for one another that the other person might have challenges. It's complementary energy. The main thing here is we see the fox with its eyes closed. It's very contemplative. It's very sort of like introspective. And this other person here may not be picking up on everything. So we need more communication. Not enough swords in the spread. Yeah, not enough swords. So more open communication. And I think that's going to be key. It also feels like there could have been a little bit of rejection, probably not on purpose, but maybe one of you wanted to do something like hang out, have a date night, something romantic, and the timing was off. Maybe some of you are feeling like you're putting a lot of TLC into things, but the other person doesn't always recognize it. So recognition goes so far, like just saying I love you or thank you or wow, that was such a nice surprise. Just articulate it, and then articulate if you need to have things articulated. Say, I know that I know that you love me and I love you, but sometimes I need to hear it, or I need to know if this is what you like. I need a little bit of feedback on this. Just let them know once or twice. You don't have to say it all the time. Remember what I said, you don't want to push it, but a little bit of informed feedback can help the other person know how to show up successfully. At the core of things, have some fun, have some time together, slow down a little bit. The Six of Cups and even the Ace, we can see just slowing down and being present. Even if you're not like, it doesn't have to be super romantic. This can just be chilling out in your different parts of the house or on a trip or whatever, but taking some time together, even if you're not doing the exact same thing at the exact same time, is going to be fine. All right. Other than that, I like what I see. The challenges might be around money. They also might be around where to live, because we have this overdue move that might be on some of your sort of radar. So that's the other thing that I'm seeing here. And there's definitely a very strong voice in the relationship. Make sure that you see yourself as an equal if that's not you. For those of you that are single and looking, absolutely you can bring it in. We have an Ace of Cups in the future. It's not what you expect, when you expect, or how you expect, however, this person that's coming in. They're coming through, I actually see these as pretty well matched. The Hierophant and the Green Woman, so the Empress and the Hierophant, both are bossy, both like to hold court, both have a way of doing things. So in both existing relationships and those that are calling in a partnership, I would say just be aware that there's more than one way to do things, and maybe taking turns is key. In both existing and in new relationships, we have that karmic energy, the playful energy. If you can get back to a playful place, that's going to be key. And you're pulling in past karma or past lifetime energy here, which is, based on what I can see, pretty good. The only thing that needs to be addressed in both old and new is validation, being present, and communication. Okay. If you're single and happy, it's good to be single and happy right now because there's a lot of career development. Excuse me, I'm going to need to blow my nose real quick. Thank you. For those that are open to career development, we have a move on the horizon for some of you, or it's already happened. We see an opportunity for you to network professionally, socially, creatively. You should be networking, all of you basically right now. This is a good time for that. And I think the other thing here is to focus on maybe being okay with not having validation. The older that I get, and the older I think that everybody gets, you realize that you don't have to, like, popularity comes and goes, approval comes and goes. And at the end of the day, it's more about feeling like I made a difference, or this matters, or I like what I'm doing, or I like who I am, even if everybody doesn't get it. So maybe you're not getting the immediate feedback, but maybe that's part of the lesson here, is that you don't need it. So a little bit to think about there. All right, let's focus now on destiny. This is based on choices. It changes each time we look at the cards here. I like what I see right now. The card was reversed, but it says, claim your independence. And I definitely am more of a dog person than a cat, but I did have a cat, and it was a tabby as a kid. Sometime I'll put it up here, or I'll put it on Instagram. My cat was Mittens because it had little white paws. So this reminds me of Mittens. The interesting thing with a cat, they do love you and they do want to be with you, but on their own terms. So some of you may be dealing with that kind of energy in your life, in relationships, in family, where it's sort of like, let them come to you. It's actually a really good leadership message. So if you're a boss, the cat spirit, especially a cat reversed, this is like what you don't want in a boss, a helicopter mom sort of energy, where they are checking like, and I just gave you the keys to success earlier. So make sure that you don't miss a deadline. Make sure that you communicate your awareness of a deadline and actually your status, so that you get one step ahead of them, and they're going to not ask you questions. So you can say, hey, before we get started, I just wanted to let you know I finished this, and this. I'm working on this, and I wanted to get your feedback on this. And watch their jaw kind of go like this, and they'll be like, oh, great. Oh, oh, wow, okay. Yeah, let's talk about that last question that you had. I had to manage up at a couple of jobs that I was at. And so I got pretty good at the day before or the morning of, I would come in early, or I would stay a little late and I would send out my status email for the next day or for that day. And I'd put all that stuff in it. And my bosses just stopped worrying at some point. They didn't ask me anymore. So you can become the cat by showing that you're independent and self-sufficient. Nine of Pentacles energy, Queen of Wands energy, but you need to meet them on that level and show it. And so their fears are what I saw in the dreams, that you're going to miss a connection, that you're not following instructions, or that you're falling asleep and not getting the stuff done. So you're going to show, and this can be in any aspect of your life, your relationships, your family, or whatever, but you're just going to show up and say, not only do I have this under control, but I surpassed your expectations, this, and this. So just kind of like hit it out of the ballpark. And that's what I'm getting with this really cool cat and with Bastet, because she's got that queenly energy, which we're looking for. So you can navigate through this with a really great ability, I believe. Okay? I hope that resonates with all of you. Okay? Let's now take a look at sun, rising, and moon messages, just to drill in a little bit deeper at how this can help you if you're cross-watching. And this is also just going to give us an additional levels of understanding for this sign as well. All right, let's see what's going on here. Okay, let's begin with Sun. A really good card for Sun. We have the Eight of Pentacles. Let's zoom in a little bit on this one because it's kind of singular in its illustration. So we always see someone in the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith sort of illustration anyway, in the throes of work, learning something. This is a card of apprenticeship and really getting as much as you can out of that. In the distance, like right on the cave wall, we see a hand. So don't be afraid as you're learning, as you're exploring, to raise your hand, especially if you're not getting the clarity that you need. So this is especially for students, but it can be for people at work when someone's giving you instructions. It can be if your partner is telling you something and you didn't follow it. Just say, wait a second, I just want to make sure, I really care about what you're saying and I want to make sure that I understood it. Is this what you mean? Ask a question. If you're feeling overwhelmed, raise your hand and ask for help. The Eight of Pentacles, just one away from the Nine, can sometimes also be a little bit stubborn. Not as stubborn as the Nine, but with Eight of Pentacles, sometimes you just want to get it done. You want to focus on something and you're rushing to the finish line. So slow down, ask for help, tune into what's going on around you. This is also about being hands-on, literally sort of rolling up your sleeves and saying, all right, I want to test this out. I want to try that out. I want to get involved with this, really kind of being a part of something. It's not just about theory or research. It's about experience, sensory experience. And also making sure that you put your thumbprint on something if it's important. Make sure that it's signature. Make sure that your voice, your vision, your flavor, whatever it is that you're putting out there, that it's still you, okay? And that's everything for Sun. This can also, well, one last thing with this can be about going back to school, getting training, or learning. It's typically about expanding one's mind and, again, learning something new. Moving from Sun to Rising, this is always an interesting card. We have the King of Wands here, and it's like a snake pit. So let's take a look at this a little closer. It was reversed, but let's look at it in the upright position. Here's what's cool about this. Let's assume that you're above all of it. You're like the snake up above, and you're saying, wow, there's a lot of bosses, there's a lot of voices, there's a lot of energy here. I'm going to try to rise above challenges, arguments, disagreements, entanglements, and really just sort of stay on path. So that's one of the challenges here, is not to try to you don't have to prove, like a king doesn't have to prove that he's the king. The queen doesn't have to prove that she's the queen. Just say what you need to say, get in, get out, show what, also like if you need to kind of show something, show that. But at the end of the day, don't linger too much. And then if there are people that just want to complain or people that are trying to get you pulled into something, know when to cut that connection as well. Don't get in the snake pit is what I would say here. So avoiding gossip, avoiding needing to prove that you're right to someone who's unwilling or unready to listen, and also making sure that all the things that we talked about earlier, because this is a management card. So manage yourself well. Make sure that deadlines, budgets, promises, everything is organized and and if it's a promise, that it's a promise kept. If you do that, you'll be fine, and the snakes can just slither somewhere else, right? This is a power card too. In Kundalini, the snake is a symbol of power, but in life in general, this is flexibility, also the ability to get in and out of situations with ease. And so your flexibility is being called into question, or it's not necessarily called into question, but it's what you want to focus on. With the card reverse, it's just saying be open, be more flexible, and avoid all of the entanglements that we talked about, and you should be fine. Okay? King of Wands, I'll take. I love the King and the Queen of Wands. They're two of the best boss cards. So if you need to do something, you absolutely can. Just make sure you're listening and you're taking into account what other people are thinking, and you should be all right. Okay, let's move from rising to moon. With moon, we have the Four of Wands. Oh, I love this card. What a nice card to come through for you. All of them came through reverse, but again, with a retrograde at the beginning of the month, not such a big deal. It just means there's some subtlety to these energies. In the upright position, this is one of the only Four of Wands that would have like a caption of celebration, and where you see all of these people. A lot of times it's just the empty sort of space. You'll see the Four of Wands, and it's sort of like a platform where people can enter in. In the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith, I think they're in the background, but this is one of the most engaged Four of Wands that I've seen. So it's a perfect time for a party, for a date, for a meeting. It's a great time to also network, invite people into new things. All of these things are positive right now. You can also open yourself up to receiving more partnership opportunities, and yeah, basically teamwork here is teamwork makes the dream work. We definitely see that with this beautifully illustrated Four of Wands. All right, we'll close with one big idea, and then we'll get ready for the meditation and final card. Big idea gives us a chance to see what the trajectory is for this month. Let's just take a look at one card, and then we'll get ready to meditate. All right, so we have a card here that's reminding you not to lose balance. So this card is reversed, and it's basically saying, look at this, things are not as much in stone as you may think. So one of the things that you have a chance to do right now is to, if the scales are not even, to even out the scales and do what's right, do what's just. Or you also have a chance to create something that's missing in your life. Like we were looking at the Ace of Cups in reverse, it's saying, where am I lacking fulfillment? What can I do to create that within? What can I do to find my own balance? Reclamation of balance, and I'm also looking at these kind of like serpents here too. Lots of snakes coming through. So it's about knowing that when it comes to contracts, when it comes to relationships, and when it comes to just the world in general, that you have just as much a right to be present as someone else, which has been a common message over the past couple of weeks. So think about that. And you can also say no to things. If something doesn't meet your expectations, you can walk away and say, not today, not now, this doesn't work for me. Okay, let's get ready to meditate, and then I'll take a look at your final card for today. So think about one thing that you want to really get clarity on. Scribble that down, keep it in your mind. In the meantime, as we meditate today, what I want to help you focus on, kind of going back to this, how to make a splash. And I like the element of water coming in a little bit. How to basically feel like you can go with that energetic flow a little bit more. So close your eyes, if you will. And unless you have a fear of water, in which case you can just imagine that you're looking at it from a distance. Otherwise, I'd like you to imagine that maybe that you're in a boat, and it's, you know, maybe it's just a little lake that you're in. So you can see the bottom, you're not afraid. You're just focusing on this feeling of being held up. This is why I like the water. So whether it's a raft or a boat, lay down a little bit and just feel supported. There's no one around you. You can even put down an anchor if you want to, and just allow that feeling of subtle movement, being able to float, and take a few deep breaths and feel like it's all going to be okay. Let go of whatever you don't need. Allow it to just float into the water and go into the horizon towards the sun. Now imagine that maybe in the distance you can see a couple of trout, or maybe you can even see a whale if you want to, if you imagine you're in the ocean. See some sort of fish kind of easily jump up out of the water and go back in, and you can kind of see them just having fun and frolicking and playing. So you're being held up, you feel like your troubles are floating away, and you're watching as other fish around you are finding freedom in movement. Imagine where you can move next in your life. What do you want to create some sort of a movement or loosen a block in your life? Imagine where that is and see yourself, just like the fish, being able to take a leap and then land easily and smoothly in the water, and then go to your destination without any friction, without any problems. This is a time to make ease come into your life. I know that doesn't quite make sense, but imagine that you can open up for things to be easier. That's your mantra. I'm ready for things to be easier. Things are getting easier. I'm open to love, abundance, and opportunity. I'm going to allow them to flow through me, and I'm willing and ready to receive them. All right, I'm going to play the singing bowl, and then we'll take a look at your final card. Just imagine that free floating feeling of being on the water, letting all of your troubles drift away. Taking a deep breath, imagining now that you're bringing your ship to the shoreline, and lo and behold, you are landing on the picture of the Three of Wands. The sky is bright behind you. You are feeling this sense of opportunity and fulfillment, and you realize now that you have landed at the shore of opportunity, the Three of Wands. Okay? So keep that vision. That's a card that you can meditate on your own right now, too. Each morning, kind of envision yourself meeting opportunity, eye to eye, face to face, reaching out your hand and saying, let's do this, ready for an opportunity, a contract to be signed. All right, if you haven't already opened your eyes, please do that right now. Let's focus on your final question and see what the universe has to say. By the way, if you like what you see, please hit the like button. I think we only have 16 likes. Let's do that. Let's bring it up a little bit. That engagement helps. All right, focusing on your final question. What's going on here? My favorite card in the deck, bar none. We have the Great Bear. This is judgment. Judgment was coming through in the reverse state. So this is about staying open and believing in yourself and not second guessing opportunity when it comes knocking. So the bear can represent for some of you this fear of being rejected. It can be the unknown. It can be coming out of this sort of hibernation period and thinking, can I do this? Yes, you can do this. I love this card though, because we see right in the stars, basically your dreams sort of coming into manifestation, coming true. So allow yourself to just believe this. If I can see it and I believe it and I put my energy into this, I can make movement happen. I can make this happen. If I can see it, I can do it. That's the short version. Or if you want to make it more affirmative, see it, then do it. And that's really what this is saying. As an answer to your question, judgment in reverse says you already know what to do. Don't go against your better judgment. If it feels right, do it. If it doesn't feel right, don't do it. Learn from previous mistakes. Don't repeat old cycles. This is a card of second chances. So if you failed before, but you're ready now, it's a different outcome this time around, especially if you approach it from a different perspective. So second chances, releasing old cycles, releasing judgment, and not being afraid to take that leap of faith. It's a really good card. All right, thank you. I see we got a few more likes, and I do appreciate that. If you're watching this on replay, also hit like and subscribe and opt into bell notifications. It helps with engagement, and I do appreciate it. You can also give me a follow on social media. It's Nicholas Ashbaugh on all major social media platforms. I try to put reminders and recaps there, so it's a great place to stay connected. Remember, I do not offer private readings, and I don't use direct messages or offer products and services in the comments. So if anybody's doing that, it's not me, it's a Pinocchio. You can report them and let me know about it as well. Thank you in advance to anybody that gave back in the form of a membership, super sticker, or super chat. I appreciate you, and you're helping me with future project endeavors. Before I wrap up today, I want to give a little bit of gratitude and thanks. Let me just look through here real quick. I think somebody celebrated, well, we had a new channel member at the beginning, but let me quickly say thanks to all those that are members and all those that gave back, and then we'll wrap it up for today. All right, so today, let's see, we have a couple people. Alpha, I can't pronounce, I'm just going to do first names, Alpa rather. Alpa, thank you for being a brand new channel member. And is it Jimenez? Thank you so much for rejoining after 4 months. I appreciate your presence here. Now let's take a look at the super stickers and super chat, and then we'll wrap up. All right, so giving back today is Aylin, Aphrodite, and Nicole. Thanks, guys. I appreciate that. And a reminder, I'll be back later this week on Thursday and Friday. And I'm here every Monday, Thursday, and Friday for the monthly readings, every Sunday for a 7-day forecast, and each and every day for a short 1-minute video. So if you haven't seen that already, you can click on the Shorts tab and check out today's reading. Take care of yourselves. Lots of love and light to all of you. Have a great month ahead, and make some great stuff happen. Remember, this is a time for you to make a splash, right? All right, everybody. Thanks again. Lots of love and light. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.